And here we have it, the man of the hour. He's been in film and television, in numerous film and TV shows and movies. He's been acting in 4 decades, and it's about time I got his ass on my show. Please welcome the handsome bastard, Steven Bauer, in the house, baby. Look at the crowd going, baby. Steve, where the hell you been, man?
You got aircraft with paparazzi overhead.
Oh, they're taking pictures already? They're taking pictures?
Yeah. It's okay. Hair looks good.
How am I going to see your eyes, man?
All right.
That's better.
That's better.
Steve, make sure you speak a little louder because I know you're far away a little bit.
Eddie Hitman Mata.
Oh, what an honor telling me that, huh?
You're the Hitman, man. Yeah, you're the. Yeah, you should be. In the MLB right now.
At 45.
What? You're 35.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Steve, let's turn back the clock a little bit, all right?
To when I was 35?
Well, when you were like 20, how did it happen? You come from Cuba at 3 years old to the United States. Talk to me.
I grew up an American. That's it. All I know is the United States. And I'm in love with American. I want to be an American as a child. And that's why I have no accent. Although I could if I wanted to, because I grew up with these people, But Cuba was something that wasn't going to be. I could tell. The men in my life, my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, all those guys, they were thinking about, we've got to go back. And I just thought, God damn it, we're here. We're here. Let's just make the most of it. My dad eventually started flying for different cargo companies, and he flew in wars in the Congo and Biafra and in Greece and South America. He was like the great pilot and adventurer, and he imbued us, my little brother Ernesto and I, with that sense of adventure of different places, of going to different places. And at the same time, I had my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who was an English and French teacher in an American school in Havana. So she continued that in Miami and Coral Gables at Lourdes Academy. And she imbued me with this sense of this love for history. And also she was from the stage because she had acted in her life. She had been an actress and an opera singer also. And she actually, and I have the playbill where her name is there on a little role. And she was on Broadway in 1928. She went to New York to study opera. And so her life is an inspiration to me because she was able to sort of handle both motherhood, obviously. She had my mom and her sister. And she was an opera singer who really did famous, but she stayed in the arts. And so she gave me this night after night. She would tell me stories about the Roman Empire and the Greeks and etc. So I developed a love for history, but I also understood the theater somewhat. I was exposed to these movies, West Side Story, Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston.
Nice.
And my mind was, as a child, I was 5 years old. My mind was blown and opened up to something other than what our existence was at the time in 1960, 61. Which was living all crammed in one house, and going to an American school and trying to speak English like the Americans, so they wouldn't call me a spick. But I was very, very shy, and I was very insecure. But I really learned the English language, and I made it a point, and that led to my later in college after sports, and realized that I didn't have the competitive edge that some boys do, and I just wanted to play the sport. Football. I wanted to be Joe Namath, and I could throw the ball, but I didn't understand X's and O's. By myself, I just wanted to throw the ball, and I was good at throwing the ball. So I went to the theater in college. I just I just saw it. I saw an ad for a play, for a Tennessee Williams play, and I auditioned and I got cast. Once I was cast, I was in the process of learning what to do. How do you become a character that's on a written page? How do you embody what the author wrote? That's my whole secret. Is respecting the words of great writers. If they're shit writers, you know right away. You say that's not real life.
But Steve, when you audition and there is shitty writing, how do you adjust to that? What do you do to make it look good?
Honestly, Eddie, you know me. There are all actors have some shitty projects that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think about a lot of my peers, a lot of my friends who maybe didn't become big stars, but they're good actors, and they had their moment, so they were sought after by low budget productions, and they make the most of it. And that's what I do. If I need it, if I don't need it, I pass. I don't want to stupid words.
But hold on, Steve. But in your situation, let's say when you were younger, right, and you're not well established yet, you got to make those words your own, right? I mean, you got to do it.
A trick question.
You improvised the whole audition.
Well, yes, I guess there was a moment when I was 20 and I was in LA and I was just starting, where I would just take everything as Bible. It was just, if I had an opportunity, I had to try to make something of it. I didn't question the intent of the project. I didn't question the quality too much. If I encountered language that was bullshit and that was not human language, that was created to cause an effect, I would say, I'm not going in. I don't want to do it. I wouldn't want to be in that movie where I get my head cut off by some serial killer. Right. I don't want to,
Yeah.
So, cut to the chase. I was already very, very quality, like honed in, so that when I got to Hollywood, I was looking for not just a job, I was looking for a quality job. I had a friend who was my idol when I was at the University of Miami, when I was really doing some great roles on stage. And he was a year ahead of me, maybe two. And his name was Ray Liotta. And Ray, King at the University of Miami. He didn't really accept that, but he was, because he got all the great roles in their productions. He played Stanley Kowalski, and I heard about it. I didn't see it. Wow. Stanley Kowalski, Streetcar Named Desire. And so all I would hear about was Ray is like the guy. He's the actor. And when I got there, I was just like, I was just
Yeah.
like, guy, and who the girls were paying attention to, of course. And he was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like, you know. And then I made sure that I did my work, that I worked really hard, so that he understood that I was real. And when it came to the show, the final show of the season, which was Of Mice and Men, he wanted to play Lenny. He wanted to play the sort of grown up child who's lost and depending on his friend George. He wanted to play Lenny. And everybody said, no, no, this guy's playing Lenny. And the director, he was very instrumental, Bob Lowry, rest in peace. He said to Ray, you're not Lenny. Rocky. He called me Rocky. Rocky. Rocky's gonna be Lenny. You're George. You take care of him. And that was it, man. It's like we were married. Once I had that role and he had that role and he accepted it, he accepted that I'd gotten that very complicated, very complex role of a grown up infant with a mind that was really not suited for life.
Right. So did
And
you guys get along? Like everything was good?
got along as soon as he accepted it, and we went into rehearsal and we started spending time together as George and Lenny. And every night before the performance, we would go on the roof of the Ring Theater at the University of Miami, and we would come in and we would talk to each other as George and Lenny. And Ray would make up songs, and I would sing along with him, and we were. And then they'd say 5 minutes, and we'd get ready. We'd come down from the roof of the Ring Theater and stand by the entrance, and they'd go, action, boom,
Wow.
you're up. And we'd walk on, and we'd be like walking in the wilderness. And the setting was beautiful. The set design was beautiful. The music was original music, and it was atmospheric. And the theater was sort of in the round, but the stage was here, and then the people were all around us, to the front, not behind us. We still had sets, and so we'd go out, and George, George, and he'd say, "What do you have in your pocket, Lenny? What do you got in your pocket?" And I'd be like, "Nothing." And he goes, "Let me see it." "It's just a mouse, George." And it was, we did Of Mice and Men, and we sold out 3 weeks, standing ovation every night, and we got a great review, and the theater writer at the Miami Herald gave me a great review, and at that point, I thought I'm gonna just do stage work, and maybe one day I'll do movies.
So did you move to New York City? Did you study at Stella Adler?
Yes, I did. I did. But at first, I went to LA because they called me one day. I also had the opportunity to do a sitcom, a three-camera sitcom called Que Pasa USA.
Right. And that's
And,
where all the girls were going crazy for you, right?
well, yes, all the girls, all the guys, everybody, all the older folk, all the ladies. It was I was the guy, and I was bilingual, and they made me a star, and then PBS picked up the show, which was a local public television show. They picked it up after one season and put her all out all over the United States. So, Eddie, to get to answer your question, Que Pasa USA was seen in LA.
Okay.
And a casting director there who was casting a film about Latino gangs and two brothers who are dealing with that issue. One's an ex-gang member, one is being recruited into a gang, the younger one. So, Vivian Gray at Warner Brothers, she saw
Wait, Steve. Who'd you say at Warner Brothers? What was it?
Vivian McCrae.
Okay.
I should probably call her up and say hi.
Yeah. 40
She
years
really
later. Go ahead.
brought me to Hollywood. She called me on the set of the TV show, Que Pasa USA. And they said, it's a call on the set, like in the studio. We're rehearsing.
That's paparazzi right up there, Steve.
They know exactly where I am. No, I'm not paranoid. Let them get what they want.
Yeah, that was Ray Liotta in Goodfellas. Remember? You see that helicopter right there? It's following me.
Oh, I can see myself going like this.
Go ahead.
See, that helicopter's been following us all day. He's out of his mind in that shot.
Yeah, he's a good.
Great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
With the Rolling Stones in the background. So Que Pasa USA led to, while I'm still in school, I'm still doing stage work, and I want to do more. I want to do more Shakespeare at the University of Miami, and I'm shooting the third season of Que Pasa USA with a tiny budget. I get paid $300 an episode and no residuals. And so, and it's rehearsal, and live rehearsal, shooting 3 camera, knowing where to deliver your lines, comedy. And it just felt right. I understood it. I understood the comic timing.
Right.
And the cast was great, and they were very, very professional, all of them Cuban actors. So, and they accepted me even though I was the new guy,
The greenie.
untested. But Vivian McCrae in Hollywood watched Que Pasa USA on public television one night and told her director, Tony Bill. Tony Bill was directing a movie called The Gangs of LA or Walk Proud or something like that. And both roles they were looking for, the 21-year-old, 22-year-old older brother who's been in a gang and got out, and then the young kid who's like 17, 18, he's getting recruited into the gang, and Big Brother has a problem with that. And she called and said, we want to fly you to LA.
Wow.
I mean, how many people get that opportunity?
No.
When I was and that's 1978, Eddie. So in 1978, when you were in diapers, when you had a little bat.
3. Right.
Anyway, in 1978, people in Miami, serious actors, all they could hope for was to build up some money and go to New York and get a job waiting tables and try to find an agent and audition to get a role in something, whether it be a soap opera. So
hold on.
Ray Liotta went.
No, hold on, because I just feel like there's a little. Speak with me. Say something right now.
Right now.
Well, wait. Say something. I just want to see that we're synchronized. That we're good.
Can you hear me? Tommy. Tommy.
Right. Go ahead. Yeah. Go.
Right. You can hear me good, right?
Yeah.
So, graduated a year ahead of me, and he went to New York. And he did a few things, and then he got cast in a soap opera, and that was the big news at school. It was like Ray got a job. It's like Ray's doing it. What's the job? All my children, all my children. The soap opera, right? And it was great because he was ready for that. It's like daily work. You got to learn a lot of. You got to learn
Oh
a lot
yeah.
every day, and he had a job and it was paying. But there were others who came before him from the University of Miami who tried to go out to LA. They were like, swimming with sharks
Yeah. But
and
Steve, but back in your days, was Andy Garcia and Mickey Rourke at your time too? Did they grow up with you?
Mickey's older than both of us. Mickey was actually because he's from the beach area, Miami Beach, and so is Andy. And I didn't know Andy until I was on the rowing team at the Big Five Club, Cuban Club in Miami.
What do you mean, the rowing team? Like you're rowing?
Yeah, rowing.
Holy
And
shit.
the 7-man on an 8-man thing. So I was one of the strong ones, and Andy was on that team, and he had some interest in the theater. And the guys being all Cuban, wow, I just diverted to a side story. So Andy basically didn't talk to me. He had no interest in me. I was this guy who I had football practice at the Dade South College. I had theater rehearsals because I'd already gotten cast in a play, so I had to do that. But I also was rowing, so I had to go to the rowing place. I had to drive over to the place where we started, and sometimes I'd be late because I'd be coming from rehearsal. One day I showed up late because I was working on a play, and we got in, we saddled up, on the.
And we're back with my man Steven Bauer. He was a little fried with the Florida sun in Miami. So let's continue with the Andy Garcia story. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can never count on rain being continuous. It just stops, and suddenly the sun comes back out. Now you're burning. So, so Andy was this kid from Beach High. He had played baseball and basketball. He's very good athlete, and from a very nice family too. And he was rowing on this team, on this it was club for Cubans from Cuba,
Right.
who started their club activities. One of them was rowing, 8-man, 5-man, and brought that because I wasn't paying a lot of attention to his offers to learn how to fly. I just thought, yeah, I admire it and everything, but it's not my passion. I just discovered the stage, the theater, and passion. Even more, we're neck and neck with football. But I knew I wasn't going to play football further than junior college. I played quarterback, but I also played tight end because I could block and I could catch. I could catch anything.
But you're also six what? You're six what?
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your height?
Yeah, I think I'm still 6'1.5". I'm almost 6'2" when I was 18. So I was tall and and but I could catch anything. I was just slow, Eddie, and I know that speed is important in baseball. I was slow, man. My legs are all over the place. I ran the 800 meters in track. I got my ass beat like every time. It's funny because my dad ran the 800 meters and he got beat by a kid who was like 3 years older, and his name was Fidel Castro.
No way.
So my dad knew Fidel.
Holy shit.
So that's why he knew that we had to get out, because he knew that Fidel had no designs on a democracy or an American style democracy. Anyway, He really was, and he would deny it. I am not a communist. I will never be a communist.
Right,
And then,
right.
you know,
So, Steve, let's.
and so Andy saw me come in, and I was. We went out on the lake, and the coach was on a little motorboat, a little launch, and he stopped. He goes, "Everybody stop!" And he goes, and he just called out my name, and he says, "Do you have a very good reason why you are late to practice?" I said, um, I, I had rehearsal. All the guys are looking at me. And he goes, "Rehearsal? What rehearsal? Rehearsal for what?" And I said, "I'm doing a play," in my faggot voice. I said, because I was ingenuous. I really didn't. And I go, "I'm doing a play." And he goes, "A play?" Anyway, he knows my stories. So, so I'm on the lake in the 8-man skull and being singled out by the coach. And he's like, he's totally homophobic. And of course, in those days, in 78, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "A play, a play." And he said, "All right." He's like, didn't want to hear any more about it. He's like, "All right, you got to make a decision right now if you're going to be an actor or an athlete." And I said, "I want to do both." And he said, "Well, you can't. So you better decide by the end of the day." So we get back in, and all the guys are looking at me like I've got an infection or something. All looking at me like, "You're an actor?" Like Cuban boys in those days were like very homophobic. To them, what they knew was that theater was wonderful in Cuban culture, but it was mostly populated by gay boys, by gay men
Even back in the late 70s?
in the 70s, absolutely, and in the 60s, 50s in Cuba. It was a profession for men who were more comfortable with women than
Right.
than guys who were heterosexual. And so it wasn't really a career, except Cuba was mad about the Hollywood movie stars Clark Gable and James Dean and Montgomery Clift, Jimmy Stewart. All those people were my heroes too. So I thought, hey man, if they, I don't care. I don't, nobody's. I won't let anybody bother me in the theater. I expected, but I didn't expect as much because
Right.
when I went to the theater, wow, the whole setting was like, wow, nice looking boy.
Go ahead.
And I was like, I guess, whatever you say. Like, oh, so I did that, and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to bend over for anybody. I
Right,
just
right.
did my work, and it spoke for me. And my personality, I was just an easygoing, very, very accepting guy, and I didn't, I didn't have a problem with anybody. So, but they did. That Cuban culture at that time were like, really, you're going into the theater? Mm. Yeah, you know, and so, and but when we were running like 3 miles or something after practice that day, and I'm being ostracized by most of the guys. This kid who never paid attention to me because he was really cool.
Right.
Yeah, really cool, and he was like upper middle class. I was like below middle class
Right.
family. We were just like poor, and and he was like a hot shot. He played tennis. He was tennis. He played basketball. He was great. He was a great athlete, and he came up to me, and I said, "What are you going to say? What do you? I've heard it all." And he said, "No, no, no. I want to ask you a question." He said, "That theater stuff, that theater. I'm I'm interested in that. Do you like it?" I said, Why would I be doing it if I didn't like it? Look at the beating I'm taking mentally, um, socially." And he said, "Yeah, I'm starting. I'm at FIU, and I was at the University of Miami by then." And he said, "Well, I'm going to do a play." And I said, "Do it. Just do it. Get into the literature. Get into what the great playwrights write about the human condition, and understand that, and understand periods of history, so that you can put yourself in them. Don't act, just."
Do.
And he did, and we would run into each other. We weren't best friends, but we would run into each other periodically. And he said, "I did this play. I got some good reviews," and I was like, "Great." And he goes, and then when I'm at the University of Miami, I get the opportunity to do
Steve, so that guy was interested in saying, "Hey, you do plays? Okay, I did a play, and go
like
ahead."
he was secretive about it because he knew the environment. Like I was getting ostracized. He didn't want to get ostracized because he was Joe Cool. He was in his like community, in his circle, because he was a great athlete. He had cool hair, and he drove a Porsche 914, and he was just cool. And he was going to the school, the university, Florida International, which was
FIU, yeah.
brand new, and we lived near there. I lived right by there, 10 blocks away. I saw it come up, and now they have a football program and basketball national program, and
No,
they
they're
do.
good, yeah. The great baseball program. But Steve,
So Andy played baseball also, and they wanted him. His parents, his family wanted him to go into the family business, which was
wait, Steve. So the guy that was telling you all this stuff, it was Andy Garcia.
yes,
Holy shit. Okay, go ahead.
which one of the rowers didn't when he saw I was ostracized when we were running laps, and nobody would talk to me because they're like, "Oh God, he's an actor," you know. And Andy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, hey." I said, "Don't say it. I got it." And he goes, "No, no, no. I want to know about this acting thing because I'm ready. I want to try it." And I said, "Really? You're not making fun of me?" He's like, "No, no, I'm serious." And I said, "Well, get into some class, get into a play, audition for plays at school, at your school." And he goes, "Yeah, I just got cast in a play. I'm going to do it. What do I said, "Just be it. Be it. Think about the period where it's set, where it is, learn the accent, and be that character. Just don't think about acting or about Hollywood or
Right,
being
right.
that, because I'm not, and I'm doing well here in Miami." So he started working in Miami a little bit, and I got nabbed. I got picked out for the show Que Pasa USA, which was I was surrounded by very talented Cuban actors who had worked on live television in Havana in the 60s. They were in Miami, and I played the son, the son in a three-generation household. And they chose me because I was goofy and I could speak both languages. And we went back and forth, like within a sentence, like I'm talking to you, and then Te voy a explicar. I'm going to explain. You know, in half in English, half in Spanish, and it was written very well, and the audiences ate it up. Live audiences, 2 live audiences on tape today, and so I got I got worked out to being on a stage, not only being on stage in the theater in a character for 2 hours, but then working with 3 cameras where they position you so that you're delivering your line this way, and that you got to make sure the little camera's on. Big ass cameras,
Yeah, so you've got camera A, B, and then you got the wide.
and then you turn and you got to deliver a roll to your sister right here, but you got to make sure the little red light's on and that you're not all over the place. The director hated me. He was from LA and he had directed a sort of a bilingual show, Mexican American, in Texas, Tex-Mex, and it was called Carrascolendas. It was one of the first PBS shows that was bilingual. So he was like polished TV director, and he hated me because I would get all the laughs because I'd improvise sometimes and I deliver it the same every time, but I did hit my marks. But he said that I would do this a lot. I would move and I would go like this, and I would say whoa, 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 and say my line, and the audience they'd lap it up. They loved it. They loved everything I did, and so I was like, "Oh, it works, dude."
Yeah, I mean, you're getting laughs.
Like you're the worst, the most irresponsible, most undisciplined actor. I fear for you if you don't learn some discipline. And I said, but the audience loves. He goes, they love it because you wear tight jeans and you're cute. he said, he said, don't mistake that for a recognition of your talent. He said, you're not that good yet. Don't.
But you're executing laughs. I don't understand that.
I'm executing laughs because the way I deliver them. It may not be the way he had.
Yeah.
He said, say this, then wait, and then say da 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 like that. And sometimes I go da da da, and the audience will start laughing, and then I start the next line right on top of the laughter. He goes, you're losing laughter, and I go, there's laughter constantly. The rest of the crew, the rest of the cast would be like, God, that guy's hard on you. It's like, you're great, you're perfect. The audience loves you. And he would say, you have to remove all that noise from your ears and only pay attention to what I'm telling you, because I can help you become a good actor. But if not, you're going to be a nightmare for directors.
Oh shit.
And I hated it. I hated him. He brought me. He drove me home one day, and we sat in the car for an hour. And he said, "I'm going to talk to you right now. You know, before you go in, I just want to tell you, the laughter and the adulation, it's not helping you. It's not helping you. You're going to be a monster because you think that works." What you're doing, all your cuteness, all the cute little things that you do. I said, I'm not planning on doing them. It's just natural. I just do shit. I do the line like I feel it. And he goes, you can't just feel it. You have to be disciplined, or else you're just feeling all over the place. And I said, well, it's working, isn't it? And he goes, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Those are people who don't recognize real acting. I'm like, you're talking about my people, like the Cubans, like my mom and my grandmother, and like everybody, my mom's friends. They're all like, he's great. And I was like, and he goes, well, they're steering you in the wrong direction. If you really want to be a good actor, listen to me and do the things the way that I tell you to do them. If you can. I don't think you have the discipline. It's like, wow, man. I'm a total failure. And he said, you're bullshit. You're bullshit. So I had to deal with that. And then I get a call from Hollywood on the set one day. Oh, wait, before that, I get an episode that I'm going to do on the show where my little sister, who's in high school also, is dating or wants to date her high school professor, a young, handsome guy with a beard. And I say, I know a guy who's a young actor, and he's nice looking. And I brought Andy in for his first role
Holy shit.
on TV.
Wow.
And you can see that sitcom. And she brings him home. He comes over, ding dong, and I go to the door. Hey, how are you? Oh, and he's like, yeah, how you doing? And I go, so you're my sister's professor? And he's like, yeah, that's right. He's like, yeah. And he had a beard, like nobody had a beard at 18, 19,
Right.
you
Clean
know?
shave.
Yeah, everybody's clean shaven, and I'm like, my hair's all crazy. And I go, okay, cool. Okay, I'll get my sister. And the episode's really interesting. That's Andy's first show.
Wow. Thank God for Steven Bauer.
No, he's thanked me. He has thanked me.
Oh, he better be thanking you to this day right now. So Steve, how did it happen with Scarface? I want to know about Scarface. How did it exactly happen?
They brought me to LA. I got agents. I had what nobody could get. And it's something that I feel that I was really blessed. I was touched because I didn't have to choose a career. It chose me. I was just dabbling, but I dabbled with passion. Once I got there, once I was on stage, I was passionate about it. So I threw myself into it completely. All through the years where people usually are demanding of one to make a decision about a career.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my dad coming home from a flight. He was a pilot. And he'd be home, and I'd be there and have some contact with him. We didn't have too much contact in those days. Later on, I grew to love him. We got really close before he passed. And he would say to me, so what are you doing? Your mom says you're doing a play. And I'd be like, yeah, at a theater. And he said, well, you're going to be an actor. And I said, well, I'm trying it. Okay. And then I got cast in Que Pasa USA. And we had shows with Cuban audiences, Cuban American audiences, like live television. And he would go, and after the first one, he was like, wow, apparently you're good. He loves you. And I said, well, I'm your son. And he's like, yeah, okay, but what are you going to do with that? And I said, and then the next step, it goes national. And I'm getting fan mail at my school. Fan mail, because there's no internet, of course. So you get people write letters when they see you in Iowa or in New Jersey. And I'm getting letters in class, delivered to me at the University of Miami. And my college mates, or my drama friends, are all saying, dude, you're going to be a Hollywood actor. And I said, I don't know. I really want to work on stage. I want to do some plays first in New York. And then they brought me out to Hollywood. They flew me out for that movie that Tony Bell, the producer, director, was doing. And I stayed. I skipped my senior year at the University of Miami because they convinced me. All the wise voices said, you can always go back to school. You have the opportunity now to get into a TV series and make money. Make money. And lo and behold, they sent me on an appointment. My agents, for my third appointment, on my third day, I went and I met with the casting director of Columbia Pictures television division, and he said, we've seen Que Pasa USA, and we're very interested in having you on board and developing a series for you.
Wow.
My third day in LA. And I was like, what? He said, you're very good. You're very funny. You look great. We need to find a series for you. But I want to offer your agents a deal where you have some holding money so that you won't sign with any other studio.
Holy shit.
And so I go to my agents. We didn't have cell phones. I drive. He goes, so go home and I'll talk to your agents. Wow. And I get to my agent's office and they go, buddy, what did you do? I mean, what? This guy wants to put you under contract, give you some holding money. We're thinking about 30 grand. My dad never made 30 grand in his life. And so I got that news and they said, you can read other scripts, but you cannot sign with another studio. You can do guest starring roles for ongoing series, ongoing. A soft spot for this little dog.
Yeah, I can see that. I know you love your dogs.
Yeah, man, are you kidding? And my cat.
And your cat.
So they offer me that money, and I said take it, and we'll still read scripts and still go on appointments. I called my dad and my mom in Miami, and I said they're putting me under contract at Columbia Pictures. And my dad goes, for what? And they said they want to develop a TV series for me. And he said, for you? And I said, yes, for me. And he goes, based on what? I said, because they saw me on TV. They saw me in Que Pasa USA. And they think I have comic talent, acting talent. And he said, well, what? And I said, and they want to give me $30,000 right now so that I won't sign with another studio. He said, what? You were going to sign with another? I said, I haven't met with another studio. They don't want me to meet with another studio. This is my first meeting. And he goes, take it.
Yeah, exactly. That $30,000, take it quick.
I haven't done anything. He was incredulous. You haven't done anything. I said, I did Que Pasa USA. I did all that. And they're seeing it, and they're seeing that they could market, they could, put me on TV. So it was a long time, Eddie. I'll get to Scarface. It was a couple of years where I did guest starring roles, and I did even guest starring roles in TV movies. And what happened was that one summer I was really fed up with doing television. And people were saying, no, you're stupid, what are you doing? And I said, I'm getting film auditions. I tested for Zeffirelli.
Mm-hmm.
He brought me in. He wanted to see me in person. And that's all he wanted. He wanted to see me in person. And he saw me in the role of this book that was called something love. Oh, some stupid Innocent Love or something. No, that was another thing I did. And Brooke Shields was cast.
Oh.
It's about two teenagers that defy all the odds of all the parents and everything, and they're really young. And it was a very, very popular book, and it was controversial because it's about teenagers having sex. So they cast her, and then they put me with her, and they're like, you're a little bit too much of a man already. Because I was 21 or 22, and Zeffirelli's like, yeah, she looks like she's 14. I don't think so. I need a boy who's like
It looks
18.
like a boy, yeah.
Yeah. So they cast this kid, Martin Hewitt. I'll never forget his name.
So is that you? How old were you in this picture?
That's when I did Scarface 2 years after that. After this.
Okay.
So what happened? That's one of the publicity pictures for Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
See that I have darker complexion
Yes.
because they wanted that and they worked that magic.
Steve, when you went to Hollywood, looking like that, how many women were all over you? Be honest.
I can't talk about that.
I can't talk about it. Listen, your wife knows your history, all right? I mean, be realistic. You went to you go to any of those stores, grocery stores, you go shopping with that look, I will guarantee you women were going crazy for you.
Listen, before I was crunching on ice, before I was visible, I started sort of understanding and acknowledging that the way I turned out after being such a nerd when I was in my teens, and so insecure, really insecure about women. But by the time I was 21 and stuff, I did get a lot of attention from all ages when I would go to a public place, and I wasn't a star. They weren't recognizing me from TV.
Right.
Except in Miami, that was a problem. In Miami, because once Que Pasa USA was big, it was the biggest thing for the Cuban community, the Cuban exile community, which I was part of, which, by the way, is up in arms today. And the Cubans are finally saying no more communism. Anyway, so it's taken 63 years. I was part of that group in Miami and wherever I went. And still to this day, now I'm living in Miami. To this day, I go places and look at me. I look like an old guy, and it's mob scene. After one person notices me, they have no manners, really. And I don't reject anybody unless they have bad manners, unless I'm in the middle of this,
Right.
I'll be like, yeah, I will, but give me a few minutes.
Right.
Video. Can I get a selfie? Man, you're amazing. And so that still happens here. In Hollywood, not so much. And that's why I moved, because I needed because I had to get out of Hollywood. And
Well, you're not the only well-established actor that moved out of Hollywood, because you don't have to live there anymore with the self-tape now.
Exactly. Look at Matthew McConaughey in Texas.
Yeah.
I love that.
Even my good friend, you probably know him, AJ Buckley. He moved to South Carolina.
He did? I don't know it.
Yeah, SEAL Team.
Oh, SEAL Team, yeah.
Yeah,
those guys. When I watch those movies, I think about, wow, I could have chosen that life. I wonder if I would have been tough enough. Probably would have made me tougher. But I admire those guys. All those guys who throw themselves into that and know that what they're going into is hell.
Yeah. Steve, but let me ask you this. Let's get to Scarface. People really want to know.
All right, I'm in L.A. I do some TV movies, and I'm really dissatisfied. And I have a friend that I met in a dance class.
Wait a minute. What kind of dance class?
It was a dance class that Betty Garrett, who starred in On the Town with Frank Sinatra.
Oh, shit.
And Gene Kelly. She was the girl, and she was a great dancer. So, cut to 1978, and she is in Beverly Hills with her dance class. She has a dance class. She teaches a dance class. She does everything. She's about 50-something, 60 or whatever, and she's great. She's this incredible girl, older girl, and she teaches the dance class. Somebody tells me about it. They go, "You better stay in shape, and you should be in this class, and do ballet."
Wow.
And modern dance and jazz.
Maybe football helped you out with the athletic skills.
Absolutely. but this was going beyond. I'd already taken a dance class at the college, the junior college, Miami-Dade Junior College. I took a dance class, and that's how I got cast in West Side Story at the University of Miami with Ray Liotta.
Mm-hmm.
And I switched schools. I transferred to the University of Miami, even though I couldn't afford it. But they got me a grant based on the fact that I was a minority. Alfie!
Alfie's getting jealous because your full attention's on me. That's what. But go ahead.
I think he thinks he saw a lizard or something. Alfie! Settle down. So, let me see the pool.
Oh, I see the beauty queen right there, the one that you married.
Oh, you see her? Oh my
Yeah.
God, she'll kill me.
I got better vision than Helen Keller.
There's the pool.
Oh, there goes the kitty cat.
See? There's the cat. All right,
Steve, don't fuck anything up right now. Don't push any buttons.
stationary. We're stationary right now.
All right, go ahead.
So listen. So I'm dissatisfied in LA in 1980, 81, and my friend Michael Hewitson, who's an Englishman, who I met in the dance class, and he did my first portraits, my first headshots in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. He used to work for Elton John. He was great. He invited me to Elton John's first viewing party in LA. He was renting Elizabeth Taylor's house in Laurel Canyon. I'm sorry I'm digressing, but you have to know this.
Yeah,
Although it'll be in my book and much more. And so he says, "You want to go? You're going to watch the Academy Awards?" And I said, "Well, yeah, on my little black and white TV." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Would you like to go? Elton's having a viewing party. He's renting Elizabeth Taylor's house, and he's having a few friends, and he said I could bring a friend." And I said, "Yeah, sure." Yeah, I'll come. And I went. And anyway, I'll tell that story.
No. You're opening up right now, but man, let's go. Go ahead.
Elton John was so great. He was so funny. He's the funniest person I've ever seen, and the foulest mouth at that time. His face, he was commenting on everybody's dresses, on all the women's dresses. It looks like she's attending the fucking prom. Anyway, it was, and there were substances all over, and I was like, whoa. Everybody's doing substances from dishes, from China plates.
When you say substances, can you define that, please?
Well, not no more, I guess. But in those days, cocaine was very big with the jet set, and I was in a jet set party.
Oh, okay.
And it was a plate of cocaine. They passed it to me, and I'm like, "What do I do with it?" Well, let me watch you do it first. And it was like, pass it on.
Holy shit.
Entertaining, and it was an eye opener for me as a 21-year-old. And Michael was he took very good. He all the salaciousness and all the weirdness. He knew I was pure, and I had my mind really set on what I wanted to be. I wanted to be as good as can be, and I knew that I could apply all the knowledge I had of history and my feel for language, that I could do anything. I could do Shakespeare, I could do Stanley Kowalski, I could do anything, and I really felt that, but I wasn't getting the opportunity. Like I said, Zeffirelli brought me in for the movie, for Being in Love, or God, I can't remember, but it's about two teenagers. And he said, finally they decided, it's like, you're too old. You're too man.
You know what it is, Steve? You're too manly and masculine for that role. It wouldn't match.
Yeah, so I didn't fit, but Eddie, I was frustrated because I was 21, 22, and I was too old for those teenage roles that were coming up, except for the roles in slasher movies, and I would turn them down. And my friends thought, you're an idiot. Get on film, get in a movie. I said, no, they're going to cut my head off in the final scene. I'm not doing it. I'm going to be running through a forest, running from a slasher. Goodbye. I'll wait, I'll wait, I'll wait. And I waited. And then I went to a class that my friend Michael suggested me go to a summer program with visiting Stella Adler at the Coast Playhouse on Santa Monica Boulevard. 2 days a week, I think. And it was expensive. But I said, I'm there. I'm there. If I get to meet her, God, she was Marlon Brando's coach. And I listened and I saw her, and she was flamboyant and beautiful and graceful, and she was 75 years old. She was tall, and she had blonde hair that was perfect, and her face was beautiful. She had beautiful blue eyes. She had been an actress in Hollywood, and she met Stanislavski,
Yeah.
and she worked with Marlon, with Brando, and she worked with so many of those people. She worked with Warren Beatty later, and Al studied with her. Al Pacino studied with her. Hey, settle down. And so did De Niro. He studied with her, and so many others. So many guys.
Yeah, there's a long list. There's a long list.
I wasn't really. It wasn't that. It's just knowing that she met Stanislavski and she brought it back to the States. Was Stanislavski said on his deathbed, which was, the method. I've gone beyond that, and I realized that the method really is an insect. The method is really trickery. It's a trick. It's a tool, but it's a trick because you don't need sense memory. If you can imagine it and put yourself in the situation, you don't need to substitute that situation, which you're called upon to produce. Substitute it, which you haven't experienced, for something that you've experienced. And so you're mixing two events.
But a human doesn't operate like that.
No. Yeah. So on stage, if you're thinking about something that happened in your childhood because you think, or you've chosen that the author is asking you to be emotionally bereft in this scene, and you can't come up with it, you can't imagine yourself losing your father, like Hamlet loses his father unexplainably. He was poisoned. And if you can't put yourself in that situation, the method, Lee Strasberg, what he would teach is you can take from your own life a sad moment, but it doesn't equate that moment of loss. You're substituting, God, I remember, God, all I have to do is think about when my dog got hit by a car. Well, that's not losing your father. That's not at all. It's emotional. You could be bereft and despondent, but that's not your job. Your job is to be Hamlet.
Yeah.
And understand what it is to come home from college because your father's been murdered.
Yeah.
And there's no investigation. I mean, I feel that right now.
Yeah. I could see it through your optic nerves.
Yeah. So that's what I got. That's what I got, and I got it from her, and I got it from her, Stella, and I got it from Harry Master George, he's still with us. Babe, do me one favor. One favor. Close this because a big ass fly just came in and is circling my face.
Steve, maybe the fly's hitting on you.
I'm used to that.
Well, I know that. Shit. Steve. But, all right, so listen. I want to get to Scarface. Come on.
After I worked with Stella,
Uh-huh.
I worked with her though. I actually did a monologue. That's what she would do. She would assign monologues to perform in front of class from classics, modern or earlier, or Shakespeare. And I chose Mark Antony's speech to the crowd after the boys have killed Julius Caesar, who was my mentor, and I loved him. And so, speech as I go out there, and I turn the crowd against them because they are going to claim that they killed Caesar because he was too ambitious, that he didn't care about the people. So they did it for the people, and they let me go on first, and I go on and I say, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." And I go on, and as I go on, I'm wearing a toga. I created a toga because Stella would insist that we put on some indication of the period. And so I'm Mark Antony. I'm wearing a Roman toga, so I got the sheet, and I put it like that. And of course, my right side is exposed, right? my right shoulder, and my legs. I'm standing there with my class, with all the people. They were taking the summer intensive course, and I start, and then she's standing over on the side, and she walks over. She goes, "Okay, stop. That's good enough. That's fine, darling." And she just starts just talking about what the difference between understanding it and doing your version of it, and really having the technique which she would teach. The technique which is by really understanding the period and the speech patterns and stuff like that. And she said, "Darling, you could be one of the greats." She goes, you could be, oh my gosh, low battery already. You could be like Marlon." And then my ears perked up like that. And I said, "Oh." And she said, "But you've got to come and study with me in New York. Come to New York and study with me." And that was it. I was packing. I was to go, leave everything behind. Fuck Hollywood. I was on my way to New York. And I did. I signed up and worked for a year with her. And I did a couple plays. And then at the end of that year, my agents were clamoring for me to come back to LA because there were appointments. I could go on for guest starring roles and this or that. And I was like, no. I'd rather work with my hands. And I did. I got a job delivering furniture. And I wouldn't take a job. I wouldn't go in for appointments for soap operas or for modeling or for commercials. And everybody thought I was nuts. They're like, why are you starving now? And why you have no money? And I said, because I'm going to keep working. And so, oh, thank you, babe. She brought me my cord so that my phone.
Oh, you are clutch. Tell her she's like Jordan and Jeter at the same time. Clutch.
Oh, thank you. And then
thank you so much for saving, because he's been struggling with this.
struggling with the technology.
You know, you
All
can't.
right.
You know, you have great acting technique, but you don't have technology technique. Thank God for your wife.
But I am connected now. Look at that.
Oh, thank God. I was a little worried. I'm like, oh no, battery's gonna die, and there goes the interview.
Yeah. So many interruptions. God, I hope you have a good editor.
Yeah, well, I got to do all this editing shit, man. Everything on my own. But
Well,
you're lucky. I love you, Steve, because you know why? When I met you, I remember right here. This is me and you. Yeah, this is me and you right here. Do you remember this picture? It was at the Playboy Mansion. Way
oh
back.
my! I was there once. Is that
Once.
you?
Yeah, it's you and I in 2010.
Look, babe. Yeah. I kind of remember. Yeah.
You don't remember? Are you kidding me?
Well, I would go. I'd get invited like randomly, and I would go.
Hey guys, as you can see, that was the first part of the interview from Steven Bauer and I, how he was trying to make it in Hollywood. Now, the second part of the interview, watch the second, and it's an hour interview of behind the scenes how they filmed Scarface. We all love him in that film, him and Al Pacino.